Friends call me Abe or A.B. Conger. My granddaddy came to Tift County in 1836. He came down from the state of New York. But even though he was a Yankee, he joined the Confederate Army and fought in the war between the states for the South. He and my dad were farmers. Some people call them sharecroppers. I prefer to call them farmers. I was one of 11 children and the only one to attend college. I graduated from Mercer University, and at Mercer, I played on the 1911 Mercer Bear football team. I was a 140-pound pulling guard on that team. I went to law school, got my degree, got my shingle, passed the bar, and came to Bainbridge, Georgia to practice law. Didn't know a soul here. But I thought if I got in politics, I would meet some folks, so I did. I ran for mayor and won, surprised me and everybody else, and served one term as mayor. I served 2 terms in the state legislature, and then I was a member of the Decatur County Board of Education for a number of years. Of course, my main occupation was practicing law, and I liked people, and I was pretty gregarious and outgoing. And I will tell you this one story about this friend of mine, Mayo Livingston Sr. I'm sure a lot of you know Mayo Jr. Well, Mayo Jr. is a senior citizen now, but this is his dad, Mayo Sr. We were walking in downtown Bainbridge down the sidewalk, and we were, at least Mayo was anxious to get somewhere. And I would stop every person I saw and greet them and talk to them and ask them how they were doing. How's the family doing? How are the crops doing? How are the animals doing? And Mayo finally got sick of it, and he said, "Hey, why in the hell are you stopping everybody we see and talk to them?" I said, "Mayo, I'm picking a jury. I'm always picking a jury. Those folks might be on my jury panel one day." I also had a good friend who was a farmer, and he lived next door, and his property abutted a real mean and ornery man. And this mean and ornery man built a fence on my friend's property. So he came to see his lawyer. He said, "Colonel Conger, what can I do about that fence?" And I said this kiddingly. I said, "Well, if I were you, sir, I'd take a gun and shoot the SOB because I believe I can get you off here in Bainbridge." Well, thank goodness he didn't take me literally, and that didn't happen. Shortly after I moved to Bainbridge, I married a beautiful young girl named Onis Willis. Her daddy, E.J. Willis, was the mayor, and that park in the middle of Bainbridge is named for him. We got married in 1915, the First Baptist Church. We got on a train in Bainbridge and rode to Savannah on our honeymoon. Onis liked to confide in her friends that she thinks she got pregnant before we got to climax. But thank goodness, our first child, Margaret, was born exactly 9 months after the marriage. She was real glad of that. We had Margaret, the first child, and 3 other children. One time, Onis had 4 kids in diapers because Abe and Willis were twins. And Margaret was a school teacher. Abe Jr. was a doctor, and Willis and Leonard were lawyers, and we practiced together here in Bainbridge for a number of years. I was always interested in politics and had a lot of friends in politics, and Senator Walt F. George from Varner was a real good friend of mine. He and I went to law school together at Mercer. He's from Varner, some of you that may have heard from him. He came to visit me in my home known as Lingalong out on the Dothan Highway. And my oldest grandchild, Ed Varner Jr., was there. He was about 3 years old, real rambunctious. And I was sitting in my easy chair talking to Senator George, and there was a floor lamp right next door. And little Ed came up and grabbed that lamp, and he was just shaking it for all he was worth. And Senator George said, "Son, I don't believe I'd shake that lamp like that if I were you." I said, "Walter, we let him shake the lamp. If the lamp breaks, we'll buy another lamp." Needless to say, we spoiled him rotten, me in particular. One of the things that happened in my life, in my career, that was really fascinating. My wife, Ernest, and I got invited to the world premiere of Gone with the Wind in Atlanta, and went to a cocktail party after the movie and got to meet all the stars. She met Clark Gable and said it was the prettiest thing she had ever seen in her life. So that was a great time. In the 1940s, I thought seriously about running for Congress. But at the same time, Congress was going to create another federal court district in Georgia called the Middle District. With the support of Senator Walter F. George, with the support of the incumbent congressman that I had planned to run against, President Truman appointed me the first federal judge of the Middle District of Georgia in 1948. I only got to serve for about 5 years, though. I was holding court in Athens, Georgia, where I had a heart attack and died in the Athens hospital in 1953. I think my greatest legacy, though, of course, are my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Out of my children, there was a teacher, a doctor, and 2 lawyers. Out of the grandchildren, there were 4 lawyers and a couple of doctors and teachers and others, and even my great-grandchildren, there are 5 lawyers. I wish they'd talked to me for all these folks went to law school, and I told them how hard it really is. But I think that's what I'm most proud of for a man that came from a family with no education to have a family like that. I appreciate you guys coming by, and you have a good evening. Thank you.